Let's explore the essence of non-duality, a beginner's guide. This morning's lesson is drawn from my adaptation of a question from a good-hearted person on Facebook, which is not good-hearted. But we will discuss Zuckerberg another time. Is androgyny duality? We shall begin with the most frustrating of answers. It depends. It depends on what your definition of duality is. When we read the Heart Sutra, we look at three examples of apparent duality, and we're told that neither extreme exist. But the Heart Sutra is a highly metaphoric document. And so let's just take one example. There's no creation and no destruction. Well, anyone who's ever had a neighbor who has had slender newlyweds as neighbors and watched them be pregnant and grow great with child and then deliver the child and return to their former size knows that's not quite accurate. There is creation all the time. Anyone who's had a neighbor who is old and perished knows there is destruction. So is the Heart Sutra a big, fat, old, scary pack of lies, or is it simply never intended to be taken literally? Let's assume the second. My favorite way of explaining it is saying, there is no construction that once noticed cannot be released. Similarly, there is no destruction that once noticed cannot be released. The emphasis here is on letting go. There is a very famous text whose translation, like many things Chinese, is a subject of controversy. But it's typically thought of as the Zen Patriarch's Mind of Faith. And the first time I read it was in a pocket edition when I was with my first wife, my former wife, when we were at a soup plantation of all places. And like many folks with ADHD, I read it in the bathroom because going to the bathroom without reading material is sacrilegious. So that was the first time I read that, and it blew my little mind. And one of the opening passages, which I'm going to terribly paraphrase, is Nirvana is no challenge at all for those who have no preferences. And then it goes on to explore dualities, very obvious dualities: hot and cold, sharp and soft, in and out, life and death, health and illness. And the thesis here, when studied carefully, is not to say don't recognize the difference. It's to say notice all extremes and release all extremes. And there's even a technique offered towards the very end with which to do that. In the folk tales of the 84 Mahasiddhas of India and Tibet, it really gets absurd. And this is where we see the inmates taking over the asylum. We see in one of the tales, an individual asks for food. He's given a bucket of something which is a health hazard. If I remember correctly, it's fish guts. That's right. Intestines and their contents, fish poop. And he was told by a person who was allegedly a Dakini, an enlightened entity, somewhat like a wrathful angel, in this context, that if he was truly spiritual, he would eat it and find it delectable. That is what I'd like to call patriarchy running amok. Patriarchy saying, hey, 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 we can't have this riffraff becoming enlightened. If we do, if that happens, how are we going to feel special? And because that's the real purpose of everything, is for me to be special and for you to feel like shit, because that's how I make myself feel better. Oh, wait, I know. I'll move the goalposts and make things more impossible for you. Guys, if we evolved the capacity to discern the difference between a steaming load of doggy doo and organic free trade chocolate, and if you don't know the difference, you're gonna have some questionable breath. So we evolved the capacity to notice the difference between that which is harmful and that which is beneficial. That is not because we believe in the self. That is not because we have stinking thinking. It's because we evolved to have survival mechanisms that are universal, that are ubiquitous for all complex life forms. Evolution has two phases. Copying errors, genetic copying errors, and natural selection. And here's how natural selection works. If there's a copying error resulting in a change in an organism or its behavior, and that change is beneficial, it increases the odds of them reproducing successfully and passing that trait on. If that copying error, that genetic alteration creates a change in the behavior or organism that reduces its ability to reproduce successfully, that trait is lost. That's simply how natural selection works in its most stripped down sense. So is it possible that in fact, it is possible. There is a birth defect where someone can be born without the capacity to feel pain. Those people typically die a very gruesome death before they've had a chance to reproduce. That nature is cruel that way. So is it useful to tell the difference between sharp and dull? Yes, if you don't want to lacerate yourself. It is important to know the difference between a delicious organic apple and a bucket full of biohazard. Yes, if you do not wish to poison yourself. So there are 1,001 different ways we can divide up reality and say, oh, that's a duality, and that's a duality, and that's a duality. And running around like the duality police is not going to help us become Buddhas or help us to help other people become Buddhas. So let's explore practical non-duality. It's super, super simple. I'm going to give you broad brushstrokes now, and we'll get into finer details in the actual practice. And the reason I'm postponing the fine details is just to prevent redundancy. So here we go. Every time we breathe in, thanks to the proper functioning of our sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord, we're wired to perceive. Not the manner in which we're wired to perceive is free from the two extremes of mind blanking and active concentration. The manner in which we have evolved to perceive is to simply notice things vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We can notice a whole host of things. Sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. Emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. What are we to do with those things? Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are involuntarily accessing our parasympathetic nervous system. which has evolved for both physical relaxation and mental release. When that happens, whatever we noticed, whether it was small or big, soft or sharp, inside or outside, hot or cold, whatever we notice begins to feel less graspable. If we are poetic, we would say they begin to smack of the same flavor, the flavor of reduced graspability. Many, many, many centuries ago, the great Buddhist philosopher, the great South Indian Buddhist philosopher, Nagarjuna, taught us that there are two truths: conventional perception and ultimate release. Both are required. Perception is the seventh fold of the eightfold path. Release is the eighth fold of the eightfold path. We need them both. Just as neither you nor I has ever seen a one-winged bird flap its way across the sky. Similarly, you and I and everybody else need both perception and release. Our perception of the duality, our experience of non-duality, be it intellectual or visceral. There is a lament that is echoed by the author of the Song of Enlightenment. People, in an effort to teach, have used similes and metaphors and hyperbolic statements and the like. And those teaching techniques are like a finger that's supposed to point to the moon. And for someone who is wise, they will look at the finger and look at the moon. For someone who is not so wise, they will look at the finger and they will stop their search there. That's just mocked in I think it's the first or second reel of Enter the Dragon, where Bruce Lee says, "It is like a finger pointing to the moon. Do not stare at the finger, lest you miss all the celestial beauty." So, every time we breathe in, we are viscerally experiencing duality. Every time we breathe out, there's a potential for us to experience non-duality. Enlightenment is simple. Liberation is traversing the Eightfold Path. Enlightenment is mastering the Eightfold Path. There's no great mystery with the proper teaching and the proper application. If you are already good at sitting, you can master it in a week. If you have yet to master sitting, you can probably do it in about 16 weeks, without quitting your job, without forsaking your partner or children or progeny or even pets. I do look forward to chanting and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome. Oopsie. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day, every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you wouldn't have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Okay, welcome to the latest iteration of Chenrezig Zigzwe's Very Easy Dzogchen. Dzogchen is an umbrella term. Literally, it refers to a type of meditation described as awareness and letting go. Figuratively, it also refers to bliss and letting go and love and letting go, all three of which we're going to play with this morning. Chenrezig is a Tibetan translation of the Sanskrit word Avalokiteshvara. Chenrezig could translate into English as kind gaze. Our job is not to rigidly and literally believe that Chenrezig is a entity to whom we are to worship and pray. Far better it is to think of Chenrezig as simply an archetype of the mastery of love and letting go, our own enlightened potential. Since the gross majority of this morning's practice is either going to be mantra meditation or silent meditation, I think it makes sense to review the mantra's meaning. Let's chant. Om, I invoke the wish of ending money, jewel of love, and the purifying pay me lotus of letting go, supplicating with whom may love and letting go be mastered by all. What are we invoking? Love, which can be described as a wish of filling jewel, and letting go, which is the ultimate form of purification. And then we're wishing that all beings everywhere are able to master it, which is antithetical to being elitist. Oh, you know what? I opened up the wrong text. Please accept my apology. This is going to take a minute. It is not impossible to fix, so I'm going to hit this button, going over to Documents, and D, and Dzogchen, and C, and Chenrezig, and Easy Dzogchen, and going to April, and we're looking for Thursday. That's what I should have hit. Okay. So. Okay, so got to make sure the display is adjusted. So I'm going to hit this button here. There we go. Thanks for indulging my spazzy von spazziness. So our first practice is that of Lama Kieno, which is translated into English as calling the teacher as from afar. It's a form of energy work that lays the foundation for us to train in bliss and letting go, which is known by many names, including completion stage tantra, Bindu Mahamudra, Anu Yoga, and Tikle, which literally translates into drop and figuratively refers to channels, winds, and drops. It is known as it fits under the heading of a tantric alpak or new ngondro. Simple, totally simple. This image represents our enlightened potential. This image here literally represents the teachings and figuratively represents our experience of energy, real or imagined, that we might consider pleasurable. During our inhalation, we silently and mentally recite Lama, come to this crown. During our exhalation, We physically relax as best we can, while striving to chant these 12 syllables 4 times per breath. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Having chanted the mantra 32 times, we now prepare to rest the mind. We're going to explore this we're going to get up to cruising speed over the next 4 or 5 exercises. We're going to begin with mindfulness. And as I mentioned briefly during the opening bit, every time we inhale, whether we mean to or not, we access the sympathetic nervous system, ensconced not within the brain proper, not within the 3-pound supercomputer between your ears, but ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord, despite the artistic liberties taken with this graphic. By the way, if you have a better set of graphics for sympathetic and parasympathetic, please share them with me. This bit has evolved not for either extreme of mind blanking or active concentration, but instead to merely notice, and to do so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. This vulnerable perception is symbolized by the nudity of this meditational archetype described in Sanskrit as Samantabhadra, Samantabhadri, Karmamundra. Well, if we're not concentrating upon our breath, then what are we supposed to do with it? Well, we're supposed to treat our breath the way a piano student treats their metronome. When we feel ourselves breathing in, for the sake of this exercise, we can silently and mentally recite, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. And when we feel our body exhaling, we can silently and mentally recite, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. And you may say, dude, I've been training myself to concentrate all my life. No problems. You find yourself accidentally concentrating out of force of habit, the moment you silently and mentally recite the word relaxing during your exhalation, your body is going to self-correct. The more you practice in harmony with these instructions, the more you will experiencing your body acting as your inner teacher. And truthfully, the sole purpose of the outer teacher is to introduce you to the inner teacher. We're going to begin our outer preliminary practices. Un momento, s'il vous plaît. These could be described in Sanskrit as Sutra Alpak and in Tibetan as Do Ngondro, but I am not a great linguist. Although I do my best to be a happy one. Let's chant. Those who tread the path of yin use the awareness of stress to frighten us into an analog of morality. But upon this path of yin, the awareness of stress fuels our empathy. Well, I'm all turned around. Please bear with me. Okay, here we go. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Those who tread the path of yin use the awareness of interdependence to frighten us into an analog of morality. But upon this path of yin, the awareness of causality reminds us that our love can enlighten others. Aha. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Those who tread the path of yin use the awareness of impermanence to frighten us into an analog of morality. But upon this path of yin, the awareness of impermanence fuels our wisdom of letting go. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Those who tread the path of being use the awareness of the preciousness of our meditation opportunities to frighten us into neurotic diligence. But upon this path of yin, we joyfully flow from the effortless effort of love-centered spontaneity. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Having chanted the mantra an additional 32 times, we now prepare to remove the first of two metaphoric training wheels. We previously explored mindfulness and how during each inhalation we are capable of noticing all manner of things, including sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, in addition to emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. But whatever were we to do with such things? And that is answered by the subject of meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, whether we mean to or not, we are accessing the parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the lower lumbar region of our spinal cord, as well as the tippy top of the cervical region. It has evolved to support both physical relaxation and consequently mental release. And so what we see here is the physical is the doorway to the mental, not just in terms of neurology, but in terms of what we do with our body. So for this meditation, it's going to be distinctly physical in orientation. As we inhale, we could silently and mentally recite, sitting tall. This reminds our body to generate a vertical traction between our tuchus and our head. During each exhalation, we can silently and mentally recite, relaxing, which reminds our body to release. Let us play with this in harmony with our respiration right now. If you are not accustomed to sitting properly in meditation, give yourself a break. Set yourself 5 minutes every 12 hours or so to practice. After about a week, your subtle muscles will have grown in strength and you'll be ready to expand the duration of your exercise to 10 minutes every 12 hours. And likewise, expanding the duration of your training by 5 minutes every week. The third week, you play with sets of 15 minutes. Fourth week, sets of 20 minutes. By the conclusion of the 16th week, sitting for the duration of one of my live streams will become child's play. Not to be confused with the Chucky movies. We now switch gears to the inner preliminary practices, which could be described as Tantra Alpak or Ngu Ngondro. In our empathy, may we long to free all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and confusion. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. In our pragmatism, may our liberation of all others be fueled by our reliance on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. Oops. That was an interesting choice. Rather than squander our time and energy in defensiveness, how much wiser could it be to learn the lessons from our mistakes, that flow from the centered spontaneity of mindfulness and meditation? Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. Together. A life spent in competition and greed leads not to peace and fulfillment. Better it is to live in cooperation and generosity. Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. Okay, so we've explored mindfulness, we've explored meditation. Let's explore their effortless fringe benefit. Before I had the good fortune to be taught mindfulness, I was taught concentration and contemplation, and I wondered why it made me so cranky and my fellow students so cranky and our teachers so cranky. And it turns out that's because it causes our blood to collect around our amygdala, the seat of aggression and anxiety. However, when I switched from concentration to mindfulness and from contemplation to meditation, something astonishing happened. And it happens with everyone who makes this shift. The blood then begins to coalesce instead around the anterior cingulate gyrus, just a few centimeters behind our forehead, which functions as the seat of empathy. This spontaneous experience is expressed in Tibet with the following phrase: the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. Perhaps that is why the meditation archetype, who is described in Tibet as Kuntu Zangpo and Kuntu Zangmo Yabyum, or actually I should describe it now using the English words all good one, mother and father, are described or depicted as being quite beautiful. During our perceptive inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, notice this, and during our releasing exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, relaxing. Let us bring Guru Yoga, also known as Lama Naljor, into the path of energy work that we might further train in bliss and letting go. Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. Now let us remove the second of two metaphoric training wheels, reducing the length of our meditation from 3 syllables down to the more convenient 1. We can observe in this bit of art how the gal who is the color of a cumulus cloud is actively sporting in tantric union. This, of course, reminds us of the superiority of spontaneity to contrivance. We can cast a gaze now upon her partner who is participating passively in tantric union. This reminds us that the highest spontaneity is not scattered, but centered. When our choices, utterances, and deeds flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, our life could be as blissful as a Buddhist Vati, or Pure Land, or Paradise, real or imagined, even if it has been painted by Maxfield Parrish. During our perceptive inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and during our releasing exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. Now that we've reached contemplative cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as young Luke Skywalker on Dagobah under the guidance of Yoda. Oh, look at that. One moment, if you please. Let us bring the experience of the four bases of mindfulness, the circumstantial, the physical, the interpersonal, and the mental, into the conventional path of love and letting go, where it is love that is emphasized. This is known by many names, such as generation or creation stage, Tantra Mahamudra, Mahayoga, or Tokal's leap over jealousy. Together, let's chant. So, but by the way, spoiler alert, this bit that we're going to be reciting during our inhalation prior to our mantra recitation, this is going to be really, really influenced by figurative language. Figurative language that is decoded in the previous recitation. And this recitation is just a loving wish. It's not a magical incantation. It's not an opportunity where we have to actively visualize or believe or even emote. If all we do is play with these words skillfully, they will have a profound effect upon our neurology. Perhaps that is why the ancients insisted that words guide intention, intention guides mind, mind guides energy, and energy guides matter. May all minds of all beings now be as peacefully wise as the mind of a Buddha of laws and balas by article one syllable seed or bija mantra. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Assuming you've done this for a week or so and you've grown comfortable with the recitation of Om Mani Padme Hum. While during the recitation, I like to not focus, but gently rest my eyes upon the word wise, or whatever word is in all capitals right there. For as I relax, I could feel as if I was a sponge being squeezed and all this good stuff is coming out of me like a conduit, like a sprinkler on the front lawn during the summer, lavishing all beings everywhere with wisdom. It's just a fun sensation. It's not magical thinking. It's just something to play with. Do 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 do. All right. May all relationships of all beings now be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddha's communication symbolized by the six-syllable mantra. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. May all bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist thought of the blissful body of a Devi or Yadama of lore and archetype of enlightenment such as Shinraising. Om Mani Mimi Yung 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have the good fortune or boon. As a Buddha's real or imagined paradise, pure land or Vanti. Om Mani Mimi Yung 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. One moment, if you please. Having chanted the mantra 32 times, let us now watch the play of mind as we breathe in, whilst silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this, and relax into the mind's non-graspable nature as during the exhalation we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease. We do not actively inhale or actively exhale, but when we notice our body inhaling, then we recite this. And when we notice our body exhaling, then we recite ease. For we are not reversing the path of being controlling, but the path of being laid back. Welcome to the groovy path of enlightenment. Now reminded of that song from the 90s show, Fraser. She's such a groovy chick. Now we're going to play with the same ideas, but from a different perspective. Again, we're bringing the experience of the four bases of mindfulness this time into the ultimate path of love and letting go, where it is letting go that is emphasized. Yes, we'll be leaping over pride. As we inhale, we can notice all minds, perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings quite clearly. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as no graspable of what is a real or imagined bija seeds at a beloved light. So this time, as we relax into the recitation of the 6-syllable mantra, we can rest our eyes upon the noun we're working with, the base of mindfulness we're working with. And it can feel substantially less graspable, even for a moment or two. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Dun 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 dun. As we inhale, the interpersonal experience of communication or speech could sound quite resounding. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable of what is a real or imagined mantra of light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we inhale, our bodies or forms could feel quite sensual. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable of what is a real or imagined octuple yidam of light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we inhale, all lots of circumstances could appear quite vivid. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable of what is a real or imagined paradise or party of light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us watch the play of mind and relax into its non-graspable nature. Silently and mentally we mount this and ease upon our inhalation and exhalation, respectively. Let us bring the illusion of the horizontal duality of us and them into the dance of impermanence and interdependence known as the yoga of inconceivability. All circumstances are lost, goodness, footy, and impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into this body or form. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. All forms of bodies go blissfully and impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into this communication or speech. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. All interpersonal speech could blissfully and impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into this mind. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. All minds good, blissfully, and impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into a vast empty void. Whoopsie. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although tantalizing to the eye, could be non-graspable to the hand. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us bring the five aggregates into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever body or form we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever feelings, such as pleasure, pain, or other, we may have noticed during our inhalation, could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever appraisal of pleasure or pain's intensity or volume we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever impulse such as pushing, pulling, or clinging we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever awareness of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, or imagining we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Let us transcend the illusion of samsara and nirvana's vertical duality by metaphorically inviting all the real or imagined Buddhas, their paradises, and their denizens to dwell in the 84,000 pores of our skin, thus practicing the body mandala of duality's awareness and non-duality's release. Long explanation for an easy exercise. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us bring the 5 body regions into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever lower abdomen we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imagined Omogo City's hit a blah of green light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever navel we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imagined Ratnasambhava cerebral drum of gold light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever chest we may have noticed during or inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imagined, non-considerable blue lines. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever threat we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imagined, all made up as suitable free of red lines. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into, by the way, if you have any difficulty reading these stylized nouns, let me know and I will adjust their font size. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever crown or scalp we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imagined, Varujan, a subtle bloom of white light. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us bring the 5 mental poisons into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever jealousy we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as all-accomplishing wisdom. mani be me yung o mani be me yung o mani be me yung o mani be me hum. Oh, I got confused. Bear with me. Oh, money be me yung, 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 oh, money be me yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever broad we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as equalizing wisdom. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever hate we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as mirror-like wisdom. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever greed we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as descending wisdom. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever confusion we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as all-pervasive wisdom. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. Let us bring the 5 perceptions into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever such we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever flavor we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sensation we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sound we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever such we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Mimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Mimi Yung. Let us bring the 5 thoughts into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever emotion we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever intention we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever cognition we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever recollection we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever imagining we may have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as a vast empty void. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. Welcome to the remainder of this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. This morning's final meditation, let us bring the spontaneous play of mind into the path of awareness and letting go. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. That to seal this morning's practice with a love that wishes for the universal mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. May all master love, may all master... Take 3. May all master letting go and love as well as kind communication, conduct, and commerce. May all master the effortless effort of love-centered spontaneity as well as mindfulness and meditation. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 9 1/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the force be with you always.